Building an arsenal in bowling can be very, very challenging. And what I'm hoping is that in this video, it can make that decision a little bit easier. If you guys like this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date every time I drop a new video. And then down below in the description, I have a link to my Patreon, and I invite each and every one of you to come and join. Let me know down below in the comments what factors go into deciding what balls you put into your arsenal. I'm gonna take you guys here to the ball return to show you what 6 balls are in my arsenal and why. So this is my 6-ball arsenal. This is the arsenal that I bring if I don't know what the pattern is gonna be, if it's gonna be something that I have no idea what they're putting on the lanes. These are the 6 balls that I'm gonna bring, and I'm gonna show you guys why. The first ball we're gonna take a look at is the Jackal Legacy. I use this as my big asymmetrical solid ball. It's drilled pinned down, and the reason I want a big asymmetrical solid is to be able to control the front part of the lane on the fresh. Typically, this ball is gonna be a ball that I'm not gonna shape a whole lot. There's other options besides the Jackal Legacy in the motive line. You have balls like the Jackal Ghost, but I have this one in a different slot for a reason. So you have the Jackal Legacy. You can also use the Trident Horizon. You can also use the Alpha Jackal, balls like that. Then the next ball that I always look to add into my arsenal is an asymmetrical ball that you can shape the lane with. Now for me, I chose my Old Faithful Jackal Ghost. This is a ball that I have a lot of faith in, that I can get left and really create that smoother hooking shape. Now, you can also go with balls like the Trident Nemesis, the Jackal Flash. Typically, this is usually an asymmetrical pearl, but for me, I really like this Jackal Ghost and the confidence that I have when I have to create that shape. Then the next ball in our arsenal is gonna be that benchmark ball. Now, everyone's always looking for that benchmark shape, but no one really knows exactly what it is. For me, it's the Venom Shock. This is the ball that comes out of the bag for me all the time, especially if I don't know what's on the lanes. The Venom Shock for me, or basically any benchmark ball, is a ball that you're looking for so you can play a little bit straighter with, or you can hook the lane with. It's pretty much the bail me out ball. Then the next ball that we're gonna take a look at is a Symmetrical Pearl that's usually drilled pin up. And that's for when the lanes are really, really torched and you gotta get left and really just shape the whole lane. And the Supra has been that for me since day number 1. Now, the next ball that I'm gonna take a look at is a ball that gives you that it look. Now, it's a ball that's gonna give you a look on the lane that no one else has. Typically, it doesn't have to be something like this, like the Desert Tank. It can be whatever your favorite ball is that you have a lot of trust in. Now for me, the Desert Tank is my favorite ball of all time, and it typically gives me a look that no one else has. So for me, the Desert Tank is arguably my favorite ball in the arsenal because it always gives me that it factor look. Then the 6th ball in the arsenal can either be a spare ball or a urethane ball. I use my urethane ball for spares, so it serves a dual purpose. If you use a dedicated spare ball, then one of these 2 here would end up being your spare ball. I don't use a dedicated spare ball, so for that, I use the purple tank. Now, not having a dedicated spare ball is really, really good because I can use this for spares and I can use this as a urethane option for when the lanes are demanding of a urethane look. So now we're gonna go on the lanes and show you all 6 of these balls. So the ball at the top of the bag is always gonna be that strong asymmetrical solid. For me, it's the Jackal Legacy, like I said. It's drilled pinned down because I want it to be very, very smooth. I want it to read the front part of the lane and not have a very quick transition into that friction. I want it to be nice and round. So I know I'm bowling on a typical house shot. So this Legacy, I'm gonna have to be a little bit further left, but it's not gonna shape a whole lot. Oh, tripped the 4-pin. Now, that's hooking a lot, like I said, because we're on a lower volume house shot. But as you can see, even though it's a big, big, strong ball, it didn't want to jump off the friction. It was a very slow, gradual transition, which is exactly what I'm looking for. So I'm gonna throw one more shot with that Jackal Legacy, and I'm actually gonna move a little bit further left and see if it can still come off it and be very, very smooth and go through the pins. Now, I don't get a chance to throw this Jackal Legacy a whole lot because the leagues that I bowl in typically are lower volume house shots, so it doesn't see a whole lot of lane play for me, but damn it if I love this ball. So again, I'm gonna be pretty far left, and I really like how smooth it is, but it's not overhooking. So that was a much, much better shot. I moved everything in, try to keep it in the oil a little bit, and it went through the pins absolutely the right way. The next category ball we're gonna look at is that shapier asymmetrical. And like I said, for me, it's the Jackal Ghost. Oh, the Jackal Ghost. This ball has been Old Faithful for so long. And fun fact, it's actually the longest running asymmetrical ball in the market, period. There is no other asymmetrical ball that has been around longer than this Jackal Ghost. This one's pretty old for me too. I really like it when I gotta get left and create that shape, but there's still a lot of volume in the middle part of the lane. So I'm gonna stand in the same spot as the Legacy just so that you guys can see how much shape this ball produces compared to the Legacy. Yeah, that ball, man. Again, it's another one of those balls that I don't get a chance to throw a whole lot just because of how strong it is and where I bowl. Usually the volumes are a little bit lower. But man, this Jackal Ghost, so good. Throw one more shot with it before we go keep balling down. So this is actually a really good talking point that I just thought of in my head. The Jackal Ghost and the Jackal Legacy are both asymmetrical solids with the same core. This is to show you how important the cover is. Just the cover difference alone between the Legacy and the Ghost is a huge difference on the lane. The Ghost produces so much more shape than the Legacy, and it's all because of the cover. This cover on the Ghost is good when you're looking for that shape. So I'm gonna move one left off that shot and see if I can still get it to go through the pins. Yeah, so I moved everything in a little and it didn't really wanna come off the spot smooth like the Legacy did. It really came off it a little bit harder and I left that 410. So the next ball we're gonna look at is the benchmark ball, which any Motive fan knows it's always gonna be the Venom Shock. So the third ball in the bag is the Venom Shock. It's that benchmark ball. This is typically the very first ball that I take out of my bag, especially if I don't know what's on the lane. This is a ball that you can play a little bit straighter with. It's a ball that you can hook the lane with. It's a ball that I go to anytime that I'm really confused and I don't know what the lane is giving me. I typically go to the Venom Shock. Now, it may not always be the ball, but like I've said in the past numerous times, it's the ball that'll get me to the ball based on what I'm seeing on the lanes. So this first shot here, I'm gonna move like maybe 2 or 3 right off the Ghost. Now, this ball hooks way less than the Ghost and the Legacy, but because we're bowling on a house shot, it's gonna be fairly close. Yeah, so I think I could have moved even a little bit more right, but as you can see, man, the Venom Shock is just, it's one of the GOATs. It's one of the greatest balls Motive's ever made and one of the best balls that I've ever thrown, period. Now, I know like I sound like the typical staffer or whatever, and that's not the case, or that's not what I'm trying to convey. I just really want you guys to understand how good this Venom Shock is. So I'm gonna throw another shot here with my benchmark type ball. Now this can be whatever you feel is a benchmark ball. Typically, I like for a benchmark ball to be a lower RG, medium to medium low differential with a stronger solid cover. That's exactly what this Venom Shock is. So I'm gonna move a little bit further right, see if I can get the ball to go through the pins a little bit better. Yeah, that went through the pins a lot better. So the next ball that we're gonna take a look at is a ball that you're gonna get left and shape the lane with once that transition happens. And for me, it's the Supra. So this next ball we're gonna take a look at is the higher RG, high differential Pearl. For me, it's the Supra with a pretty high pin here. Now this is a ball that I go to when I gotta get left and there's not a lot of volume in the middle, a lot of friction to the right. It has been, and this ball sees a lot of play for me. So again, this can be any high RG, high differential, symmetrical Pearl for this slot. So I'm actually gonna go back to where I was with the Legacy just because of how much shape this ball produces. Yeah, really, really good. Now, the lanes haven't developed enough to really make this ball look really good, which is why I left that 10 pin. But man, anytime you need something to really hook the whole lane with, really take a look at that Supra. So whenever What I look for in the lanes to get into this shapier symmetrical pearl is when all my solid stuff starts to read a little bit too soon, starts to bail a little bit down lane. That's typically when I look at these kind of balls. Now, the Supra isn't the only option that you can go to in our line. We also have the Thrill, we also have the Fatal Venom. Even though the Fatal Venom is a lower RG, because it has that pearl cover, it is gonna push it a little bit further down lane. So I'm actually gonna move left a little bit, see if I can kick out that wrap 10. Yeah, really, really good look. Now the lanes, like I said, they're not super developed enough to really throw that ball for me right now for score, but I really like that I have that confidence that I can get left and really create that shape, and I know that the Supra, for me, is gonna come around that corner and go through the pins. Now the next one they're gonna look at is my personal favorite, that it factor ball. For me, it's the Desert Tank. So this next ball that we're gonna take a look at, it can literally be any ball, asymmetrical, symmetrical, urethane, reactive, whatever. It's a ball that's basically your favorite ball that you have that doesn't really have a slot category. For me, I call it that it factor ball. For me, it's a Desert Tank. I don't leave the house without this ball. I don't care what I'm bowling on. So for me, this is typically a ball that gives me a look on the lane that no one else in the building has. And for me, typically, it's the Desert Tank. So I typically throw this from a little bit straighter. And man, I love this ball when it's in play. And for me, that's exactly why I love that Desert Tank. I probably could have benefited a little bit from playing a little bit straighter, but man, the way that ball reads the middle part of the lane, and I seem to carry a lot of those light hits. My buddy Eric Hatchett likes to call me the shim master anytime I throw that ball. So again, it can be any ball as long as you think that it'll give you that look that no one else in the building has. Now, the big reason that this ball never leaves the house, besides the fact that it's that it ball for me, is that, man, when this ball's in play for me, I got nothing better. So again, we're gonna throw another shot here. Move a little bit right and see if I can get it to look a little bit more flush. Yeah, that was a much, much better shot. It was a 1-in-1 right, one of my feet, one of my eyes. Execution was 10 out of 10, and the ball went through the pins absolutely the right way. I have a lot of confidence in that ball, which is why it's that it ball for me. If I have a look with that ball, man, I like my chances. So the last ball in your bag is gonna be a dedicated spare ball, or if you don't use a dedicated spare ball, it's gonna be a urethane ball that you can use as a dual purpose. For me, I use this purple tank as my spare ball or for strikes if the pattern allows me to. So this first shot here, I'm just gonna shoot a 10 pin so you guys can see how I use this as my dedicated spare ball. So yeah, as you can see, nice and straight. And if that's your dedicated spare ball, then video over for you guys basically. But for me, because I don't carry a dedicated spare ball, I'm gonna show you guys now a couple strike shots with the purple tank so you can see that it can serve as a really useful dual purpose tool. So like I said several times in this video, we're bowling on a house shot. So the purple tank being a urethane ball is not gonna look all that great on a house shot, but I will tell you, when I bowl the Open Championships, this ball is gonna play a major factor when I bowl that tournament. So here, play a little bit straighter, but it's already fulfilled its purpose as a dual purpose ball. So yeah, you know, that did not hook nearly as much as I thought it was. So on this next shot, I'm gonna move a little bit further right and get more on top of the friction. Right now, because we're on this house shot, I think I'd probably be in the Venom shock. This purple tank would more than likely just be a spare ball for me at this point. But we're gonna move a little bit further right, see if we can get it to go through the pins. So off that pretty nasty 2-8-10, I'm gonna move like 4 and 2 right, 4 of my feet, 2 of my eyes, see if I can get this purple tank to hook a little bit sooner so that it can go through the pins. All right, this should be a pretty good shot here. Yeah, much better than the last shot. I was a little bit too far left, which is why I left that 2-8-10. That move of 4 and 2 was absolutely perfect. Anytime I go from throwing reactive resin or even the microsol balls into urethane, everything gets all out of whack a little bit. But that was a really good move. The ball went through the pins. Now, my goal for this video is that I hope that it helped you guys in building your 6-ball arsenal. Until next time. Well, there you have it, folks. There's my 6-ball arsenal. Let me know down below in the comments if you like this video, and if you want to see more videos like this in the future. Click right here to watch one of my other videos. Click right here to subscribe. Till next time.